Hi, I'm Emily from the Wisconsin Cheese Mart, and today we're going to be talking about cheeses that are original to Wisconsin. Never have existed anywhere else. They were made here for the first time ever. We all know Wisconsin as America's dairy land. It really became that in the 1800s when European settlers, especially from Germany, began to settle the area and began to start dairy farms. They obviously had a lot of excess milk, and they used that milk to create a lot of the cheeses, even some that you see here today, way back when. But that has grown, obviously. In 2018, Wisconsin actually created 3.4 billion pounds of cheese. And I don't know if you knew, actually 95% of dairy farms in Wisconsin are family owned. So you can feel a little less guilty when you go for your cheese. Just think about how you're supporting those family owned dairies. So for all of these cheeses that were originally made in Wisconsin, I think you might know this one. It's going to be a brick. Brick style cheese actually gets its name from being pressed in between two bricks to form its signature shape and to be able to press the curds into a nice cheese form. It's a German style cheese that was adapted in Wisconsin to form Wisconsin style brick. It's going to be a semi-soft cheese that's pretty springy when you push on it. And when you get into this piece of brick, it will actually have a slightly mild and sweet taste if it's on the younger side, but as it ages, since it is actually a wash-run cheese, which I'll cover later, it will develop a bit more of a pungency, something you associate with maybe a Limburger or a Bierkäse, and it will become quite strong in both scent and taste. Next we have something a lot of people know as well, Colby. So this is actually Colby Longhorn, and the reason why it's Colby Longhorn instead of just Colby is actually because of the shape that it's in. It comes in long logs, so it's called Colby Longhorn. But the style of Colby cheese is actually one of two cheeses that were created in America that were named after the town that they were created in, the second one being outside of Wisconsin, that one being Monterey Jack. But for Colby, you can tell that it is quite orange in color. That's due to the addition of annatto, which is a spice found mostly in South America from their trees. You'll see this in a lot of yellow cheeses, the brick, the Prairie Sunset, a lot of yellow cheddars you get as well. Many yellow cheeses use this spice to achieve this really nice orange, sometimes yellow color. Colby itself, as far as its texture, is actually going to be semi-soft, still pretty springy, a lot like the brick in that respect. Its taste is going to be quite mild, actually. So it's going to be a little bit sweeter and slightly nutty while still being mild and very palatable to people who don't want something that's a little bit more assertive. I would personally eat Colby on, a cold deli sandwich or a nice Italian sub, something like that, because it is such a nice mild cheese. You can also definitely use it as an additional cheese for cooking, anything like that, mac and cheeses, things, but I think it's just a really nice mild cheese to eat alongside some deli meats and things like that. Next one is actually very interesting. It is the Prairie Sunset cheese. This is by Roth. They created this cheese actually in a very romantic way. The cheesemaker said he was inspired by the setting sun on the prairies of the Wisconsin land. Obviously you can tell by that beautiful color, it's very evident, the inspiration. But it is a really nice cheese. It's actually going to be pretty semi-firm, almost like a cheddar, an aged cheddar in that respect, or even a Gouda as far as its texture is concerned. Prairie Sunset will also have a relatively nutty flavor to it. Like I mentioned, it is texturally similar to a Gouda. It also slightly tastes like a Gouda as well due to that nuttiness factor. It's also going to have a slight sweet flavor. Many refer to it almost as a cheddar Gouda blend, which are two of my favorite cheeses, so it's really delicious. And as I noted before, it is just an absolutely gorgeous color. So this kind of cheese obviously would go great on any kind of cheese board just because of its beauty, but also as far as cooking, I think it would go fantastically in a mac and cheese due to that nuttiness factor. Adds a little bit more flavor to your average mac and cheese. Next, we have a fantastic cheese that started in Wisconsin, the Bellavitano line of cheeses by Sartori. This line of cheeses started in 1999. They have come out with a wide range of flavors. I think at their maximum they had about 13 different flavors. I have the espresso in front of me here. You can tell it's got really beautiful espresso grind on the outside, giving it a very nice flavor. All the Bellavitano cheeses are said to be a cheddar Parmesan blend, so that texture will be semi-firm and it will crumble when pressure is added, kind of like a hard Parmesan or any aged cheese. It also has a really fantastic taste due to that cheddar Parmesan blend that I mentioned before. So it will have that creaminess of the cheddar while also maintaining the salinity of a Parmesan, which obviously those two things go fantastically together. You really can't go wrong with using this cheese however you'd like. However, I would usually crumble this on top of a salad. I think the saltiness adds a nice punch of flavor to anything you add it to. Also, just to add maybe some flavor additives from any of the Bellavitanos that you do use would be a really interesting addition into a grilled cheese. I would just recommend maybe throwing it in the freezer to help the grating process a little bit more because it does crumble. And finally, we have our Dunbarton Blue. This is a fantastic cheese. Like a lot of these cheeses, it is a fusion of two different styles. It is a cheddar infused with blue bacteria. So the Penicillium roqueforti that's usually inoculated into blue cheeses and let grow from the inside out. This is actually the same process, but it's added to a cheddar cheese base. So you have a cheddar blue, which is a really fantastic idea. The two flavors go really well together. The cheese itself is semi-firm, so it does behave like a young cheddar. It's not as crumbly as something that has been aged, but it is not as soft as, say, the Brick or the Colby. So since it is a cheddar infused with blue, it will have those two main flavor profiles. It will have the creaminess of a typical cheddar while also maintaining that nice funkiness from that blue introduction. You can see as well there's some blue veins happening all throughout the cheese, so it does make a really beautiful cheese as well. Obviously all of these, you can't go wrong with any of them on a cheese board. They're just so nice and really inventive and just so flavorful and delicious. But for this cheese, I would recommend probably snacking on it with some really nice red wine. I think that would just be a really good way to let the cheese speak for itself and really shine. But also, I think it would be great in mashed potatoes. I don't know if you like blue cheese, but cheddar in mashed potatoes always makes it, you know, a little bit more fun for me. But I think the creamy funkiness of this one will take your mashed potatoes to the next level. So these are just a couple of the cheeses that have been born right here in Wisconsin. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've had any of these cheeses, please let me know below how you like to eat them, what you like to cook with them, or if you have purchased these on our website, wisconsincheesemart.com, you can leave a review of them on the product page to let other people viewing that item know how you liked it, what you like to pair with it, how you cooked with it, things like that, so you can help another cheese lover out with their selection.